Okay, I guess we can start now. Hello, everybody. This is the Affordable Housing Commission September meeting, and we're so glad to be here. I'm going to, before we start, I like to do a little introduction to explain our mission, because there's been a lot of confusion about what our mission actually is. So I'm just going to read from our bylaws. The Athens City Affordable Housing Commission is a commission of city government established to review best practices, investigate community affordable housing models, and identify needs and opportunities within Athens city limits to advance decent, safe, and sustainable affordable housing for all city residents. The commission is tasked with providing advice and guidance on measures and policies that influence access to and needs within the local housing market. We take our definition, affordable housing, from the HUD definition and the U.S. Department of Housing. So we want to be clear that we don't only look for low-income housing and address only the needs of low-income housing. We are looking at workforce housing, disability housing, housing for all levels of income and needs within the community. So with that in mind, I'm going to take the next step on our agenda, and that is to establish quorum, which we have. Of our 11 members, we have, what, 9, 10? 9. Good. Okay. Thank you very much. Our secretary here is helping. So the first item then on the agenda after that is to the disposition of minutes. I want to apologize that I did not send out the minutes as soon as I should have, so I hope you had a chance to look at it. Does anybody have any comments, questions,
I did
disputes?
Have one.
You did.
Within the city and planning section, there was a reference to the city applying for $3.5 billion. It was $3.5 million.
Oh yes, that would be. That was a little oops.
Yeah.
Yes. Thank you for clarifying that. Yes. Thank you for reading the minutes. Yeah. Okay. Anything else? Once we make that. Oh, and we have one more. That's wonderful.
I wish we had $1 billion.
We have 10. Yeah. Probably not going to get $1 billion to Athens. Not going to happen. Thank you very much. Okay, these little glitches are not a big deal. So any other changes, comments, corrections that anybody wants to point out? If not, can we have a motion to pass the minutes with that one minor change?
I'll motion.
Second?
Second.
Okay. And let's take a vote. All to approve?
Aye.
Thank you. Any nays? I think the ayes have it, so we'll move on.
It's a tough task to
write
those minutes.
Yeah, what can I say? There was a lot of minutes to take, and we thank Maria for that, and both of you. Okay, so the next thing I really want to talk about that's important is that according to our bylaws, which we had newly reviewed and changed, as you know, is to talk about officer positions. And according to our bylaws, and I'm going to take right from what it says, the chair shall notify the commission members of the action to take nominations for election of officers during the September meeting, and this is the September meeting. The commission shall form a nominating committee consisting of no fewer than 3 voting members to seek nominations for election of officers. The slate of nominations shall be submitted to all commission members for consideration during the November meeting, and then finally in December we will take a vote. So anyone interested or anyone want to nominate someone to, well, I guess we can just say who wants to be on the nominating committee? That's obviously a short-term committee that.
I will.
Okay, Mary Abel, thank you very much. Who else?
I will too.
I see Amy nodding. Good. Anybody else?
Happy to.
Okay, great. Okay, we have the 3 on this end. So far, they're the shining stars of the meeting so far. Thank you very much. Okay, we have people stepping up. I love that. So your task then will be to determine who wants to, and if people want to step up and do it, or you want to tackle somebody and say, please be secretary or whatever next year. We don't have a vice chair, which we really ought to have. And you know, it's not going to hurt my feelings if anybody wants to be president, just so you know. Mm-hmm. So anyway, that's it for now. We do have a nominating committee. We've passed that task. That was a little easier than I thought. Again, please let them know who, and you'll have to meet, decide who wants to sort of chair it, if you will. Okay, so the next item on the agenda is to discuss possible committees. I wrote subcommittees, but it's technically committees because we're a commission, and membership. I read over the bylaws more closely, and there's supposed to be 4 standing committees. Again, I don't think they're locked in stone, but I think some of them can be adapted to what we talked about on the list of possible committees. The executive committee, well, we can't have an executive committee till we have vice chair, and that's, I'm not sure how much we would do anyway, so that's fine. And then the next one is new development. So new development, I think, relates to the housing options, new housing options, that sort of thing. And last week, we talked about some interests in these committees, and my thought about that was under new development, since that is really new housing options, Mary Abel seemed to be interested in that. I think that Megan Vogel is interested in that. And then I'm not sure who else might be interested in new development. I think Shay, if you want to, and by the way, back up a little bit. Shay was nominated and approved to be on the Board of Zoning Appeals. Lucky Rob, having him on your group. So he is going to do double duty. I double-checked and made sure with our law director that it was okay for him to be on 2 commissions, and she said it was, because if there's any possible time that there might be a conflict of interest, I think you're a grown-up, you can figure out what that might be. And because we are a advisory commission and not a voting, we can't tell people what to do. We can only advise them and give them our wonderful expertise on a topic and hope they follow us. You don't have to type that in. Then I think that there will be few instances where Jay might be in a conflict. So, and perhaps some of the information you glean from being on an alternate, I guess, at first, on the Board of Zoning Appeals could be helpful to what we're doing here, and perhaps vice versa. So I'm actually thrilled about it. And I actually was the one who said, yes, let's do this last night. Okay, so with that, I think it would be helpful and make sense for you to be on the new development committee. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that works.
Okay, good. All right, so that makes 3, and that's enough in case anybody else wants to do it. That would be great. Happy to get some more. You were unsure.
I am interested in that committee
Okay,
too.
so
I
we're gonna
do
put-
feel like even with the senior housing, I think that would fall under
Absolutely.
new options.
I agree.
So,
Okay. Okay, and Shay. Perfect. I love it. So I think that you need to kind of figure out how that's going to work. And then, of course, there's Megan Jennings, who already is involved with new development. So do I add you to the committee?
How does that work with sunshine laws? Will we?
good
Yeah,
question.
well, you do have to follow sunshine laws, but you can't have more than 2 people, or no, a majority of the committee meeting without public input and collaborating.
So since we're a committee of 11, we can have 5, but not 6 on a committee, or a commission of 11?
No, that's not the issue. The issue
Okay.
is that if you have a committee, I should have checked my notes about this. If you have a committee, in that committee, you can't meet and chat without of more than the majority.
Okay.
All right, but you can, because, I mean, the purpose of sunshine laws is you don't want to have people making decisions
Right.
in the dark. You should be making decisions in the sunshine, and that's kind of the point of it. So if you kind of take that as the spirit of it, then I think that you'll be doing just fine.
Okay.
All right? So one of you can be sort of chairing that committee and being sort of the spokesperson.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, I'll be on
yeah, okay, great. I think we have a plan there. Wonderful. I feel good about that. Another one is neighborhood revitalization. Now, neighborhood revitalization, I'm not sure exactly what that means. I mean, I thought of things like You know, beautification day is not as big as it used to be, and it would be great if we did more of that. So that's something. But I think I personally would like to see something focused on low income and rentals. So, or is that a stretch? My feedback here, and the audience is welcome to chime in with your comments.
What's the fourth committee that's listed in the bylaws?
Communication,
Okay, gotcha.
yeah. And that one could be communication education, which I think could be helpful. And again, these things can be, you can be on 2 of them if you wish. You can decide that you know, I don't know. We'll just have to sort of play it by ear. Okay. You were interested in rental stuff. Yes, I'm interested in rental stuff. Zach, you're interested in low-income stuff. And Holly, what about you?
I would say from the list that you have, new development and communication.
Okay.
Communication, I think new development is a little
Heavy?
heavy, yeah.
Yeah, we've got plenty on that group, although certainly, you know, getting your input at certain points is important, will be important. But I
And do
think,
you have any background on neighborhood revitalization?
is that something?
Not really?
Not really.
Okay. When you were reading it, like, I didn't know if there were any notes from, that you were aware of prior to.
No,
That kind of
no.
shared what the vision was within that.
No, that was just in the bylaws as a standing committee and, you know, need to talk about it.
Okay.
But I don't know exactly what that means. Perhaps, Michelle, do you want to put your historical perspective on this?
Hi. Sorry for my voice. I sent the old report to you all this morning.
Since
Just
it's a public meeting, could you say your name and,
Michelle Pappy.
thank you.
And I think there is a statement in those recommendations regarding neighborhood revitalization, which may be why it made its way to the bylaws here. But if you look at that, I think that might help you.
And Michelle, you sent that today and maybe caught
It's,
it in my spam.
I just I tagged it on to the email that. so-
Okay.
Yeah, some of those are not going through. I don't think
Yeah, I
I
did
saw
not
it.
receive that.
Yeah, no.
I didn't either.
I got it. I received it.
You
Okay.
Well, so when did you send that?
This morning?
Look at my spam.
Oh,
I
maybe
can't remember
I,
now, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's.
I
late.
could have
It's
missed
fairly
it.
new.
I could have
Okay.
missed it. Yeah,
So
it,
anyways, I think that may be part of that, because it was part of the original recommendations.
okay. All right, do you want to talk about that a little bit? Yeah, I did get it. I'm sorry, I just didn't
Okay.
see it yet.
I would just read through it, because I think one of the other things that's nice about it is that you're gonna see where progress has been made over some of these years regarding those recommendations, in terms of some of the things that have been happening in the community, which I hadn't looked at it in several years. It was good to see, that of those recommendations. There's very few people around, myself, maybe one other people of the original group that are even, I don't even know if any of those people are at the university. So when you look at the original members,
Oh, I do want to mention that, you know, the bylaws say that we can have consultants, no money, but consultants to the committees. So if you would be interested in being the
people with
consultant,
opinions.
yes, with some expertise and background and whatever, if you could be a.
Well, I'll continue to try to attend as much as I can, so,
Well, I was thinking specifically for that committee,
oh, I see.
that you could be part of that committee as a consultant, you know, and of the revitalization, neighborhood revitalization. So with that in mind, since she has some expertise, Holly, might that interest you?
Neighborhood revitalization?
Yeah.
I would want to read what she has first. I don't even have it in my span, but
Yeah.
yeah, I could be that or in communications, either or fine with me,
Okay,
wherever there's a need.
all right. Okay, well, yeah,
Well, I think under the revitalization, one of the things that could be done under that is looking at what's available in CDBG grants, because revitalization of neighborhoods was one of the things that was a portion of a program many years ago, revitalizing housing over on the west end, on the west side. So that could be a portion of looking at neighborhood revitalization.
yeah. Michelle?
I think that I know with our previous planner, there was a lot of discussion about that particular piece. And I know planning was very involved with that in the past. So,
Okay,
I am interested in that committee. I just wanted to make sure everyone who was interested got to speak first, since I'm already on the new development one.
okay. Do you want to,
If it's not too big already.
It's not too big.
Okay.
so are you shifting?
Can I serve on multiple?
Yes.
Okay.
Feel free. With your connections and
Yeah.
your work, that would be wonderful.
I think the comprehensive plan would probably really speak to the neighborhood revitalization
Absolutely.
itself, so I think it
Absolutely.
would plug in
That's-
very well.
That's an important piece, thank you. All right, well, I think we've gotten so many on a couple of committees. I'm not sure how much we're doing with communication. Perhaps what we, I don't know, perhaps what we might want to consider is to try to get some things off the ground, and then we'll have something to communicate. Just saying. So perhaps that's something that we can do as a later on sort of thing. I don't know.
Could it be like ad hoc basis?
Yeah, exactly. Sort of an ad hoc basis. Does that work for you guys?
I think so. I would be interested in communications as well, if we're joining too. But I also wanted to give other people a chance to.
Okay. But that brings us back also to some we haven't discussed low-income senior specific, we've had a lot of discussion last night about disabilities and that we're not doing enough to support people with disabilities and providing accessible housing. So if we could sort of put together the low-income accessibility and then rental issues, that work. It's a bit of a clump, but I think that might work. So
Sorry, the accessibility piece will fall into which committee?
that would be part of sort of a landlord-tenant kind of, well, I don't know, I don't want to call it that if it's making it bigger. How about just low income and, I mean, I know that accessibility isn't always low income, but I think it affects that the most. I don't know. Any thoughts? Happy to get some,
So good.
I don't have,
Neighborhood
I'm not sure.
revitalization, communication moves the forward.
I mean, I think from my perspective, with the housing options, that does encompass the options of accessibility and senior housing. Like, if we're talking about options, we're talking about options for all kinds of different
True.
people.
True.
So, I don't know, in my view, that's kind of where I'm thinking as far as options.
Okay.
So, I don't know. So I don't know if it makes sense to lump it in with other things or not, but
okay.
that's just my 2 cents.
Okay, my concern is 70% of our population are renters. 30% are, which is an unusual mix, but, college town, it sort of makes sense. In any case, I'm concerned that I want to focus some attention on rental issues.
We should. Maybe that just needs to be a standalone because it's such a big part of the population.
I'm okay with that, depending on how much enthusiasm we have to tackle that one. How do you feel about it,
Does it
Zach?
overlap with the landlord
Yeah.
tenant issues?
Oh.
What's that?
How does that overlap with the landlord-tenant issues?
Oh, no, that is the landlord-tenant
Yeah,
issues.
okay,
That's
sorry,
Yeah.
I was just like, I think that's the same,
Right.
what I'm saying.
That's kind of where I was going with it, is, okay, so we're kind of, I mean, obviously, there's going to be some overlap. Low-income housing, tenant issues, yes, senior housing, new development, and tenant issues, but I think that's okay.
Another thought would be to kind of like lump everything together and kind of like talk it out, and where things start to make form meaning, and then we can kind of form subcommittees based on that, maybe, or committees based on that. Because right now, we're just like doing a catch-all of other issues, and then as we talk more, we can kind of form somewhat of sense of like where things are falling and what the parameters would be.
Right, I think this is going to evolve over time a little bit, kind of see how it goes and as issues arise. But, I'd like us to be more proactive rather than waiting for issues to come to us
So,
only.
okay, so, I kind of like I get what Maria's saying, like, start with the foundational, 4 or 5 foundational committees, and then as we go, we can create more subcommittees, as we prioritize, certain initiatives, whether it's low income or accessibility or new, so to just go back a little bit, the 4 standing committees I currently have are executive committee, new development, neighborhood revite, and then communication education. Are we making landlord tenant, is that going to be a 5th separate committee? Or do we want to hold off on creating another subcommittee until we are able to dive in a little deeper to that?
It's a good question.
I'm a little concerned
A lot
about
of committees.
structure
Yeah,
and what the structure is,
yeah,
before there's so many, because there's not any
Right.
structure.
Right.
Right, to the 4 that were, well, maybe to exec, but I guess really not, because not
Right.
everything's been elected, right?
right,
So what does the structure of the committees look like?
right.
Will every committee be a little different? I don't know, I feel like we need some more guidelines and structure. But I don't like guardrails, but I feel like we need a few.
Yeah, I mean, I would, it's up to you. I feel as though it would be nice if the committees made their own decisions about that, because there's different issues involved. So,
The topics are pretty broad, though.
yeah,
I
And
feel like
so-
some things might want to have a little discussion and some definitions, just one opinion, though.
We could stick with the 4 committees that are outlined in the bylaws. Those committees could meet and identify kind of their submissions and then report back at the next meeting.
I think
I
that's
mean-
a great plan.
That's a good.
yeah, I mean,
idea.
I mean,
I'm
yeah,
okay with including landlord-tenant things within neighborhood revitalization.
Yeah.
I think I'm okay with that. So if we could do that and then kind of see how it goes, and if you could all promise to meet, have somebody sort of in charge to set a meeting time. And I'm most interested in the neighborhood revitalization stuff. I have a number of things that I'd like to do along those lines, so I'd be happy to set some meetings together for that. Zach, how are you feeling?
Yeah, I think neighborhood revitalization
Okay,
was where I would fit in.
all right,
Okay, so 4 committees will meet and determine their scopes. We'll report out at the next meeting, and for now, landlord and tenant issues will fall into neighborhood revitalization. Okay.
okay, do we need to vote on that?
I have one follow-up question. Will every committee chair might seem formal, but, I mean, will we just designate a leader once we meet? Are we
Yes.
designating leaders today? What's happening? Because
Yeah.
somebody has to be in charge when we leave
Right.
here to send
And
out
I-
communications.
If we
Exactly.
don't identify
Yes.
leaders right now,
It's
then
not
no
gonna
one
happen.
No,
meets.
it's not gonna happen, right?
Exactly.
So I
So
think,
that's why I said I'd be happy to be the leader, if you will, for the neighborhood revitalization, because that's my passion. And I think that Megan sort of said that you would do the new development stuff, right?
I can do that, yes, because I probably have the most direct access to applications that are coming in. If, if you are on neighborhood revitalization, then I don't think I need to be on it, and I'll just stick with new development.
Okay, I think that's fine. And then, can we make communication sort of ad hoc for now? Because we don't have much to communicate?
I think it's fine.
Is that, are you okay with that? All right, do you want to take a vote on this last decision? Okay, so, wait a minute. For executive, I would be that because, but again, we don't have vice chair, so it's nothing really to do. And new development is going to be Megan, and revitalization is going to be me. And then communication, we're going to do ad hoc. So those committees can meet. Can we, want to make a motion about that we're going to have, those are our committees and chairs?
I'm not on the committee.
Oh,
I'm sorry, I've just been
What
taking
about
notes.
you?
Okay,
You're so
well, I'm
busy
on, I
typing
guess
away.
I'm technically on executive, but that's kind of,
Yeah. I just figured you'd be new development because
Sure.
that's what you do.
wait, hold on,
But
I
we
might
have
have to
so
pick
many.
someone off of.
Yeah, we have so many.
New development. Okay, so we have Mary, Megan, both Megans, Amy and Shay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I cannot be on that one. Neighborhood Revite. Who's on this? Maria, Zach, and is that right? Maria, Zach, and Solveig are the only 3 because you're
Polly.
not. And Polly on Neighborhood Revite. Okay.
Yeah. Would that make
Polly.
sense for you, Molly?
I'm happy for wherever.
Or do
I
you
can
want to
do-
switch with me?
I mean, I think also there's Kimberly, and she probably might
She was
be
interested in the,
revitalization.
yeah, she will be interested in the neighborhood revitalization. We're
So-
going to just put,
Yeah,
the
and so
chair
then
has,
you could be on the new development.
yeah.
Well, I can't because then the sunshine law thing.
Well, no.
I mean, I could
No,
be
it's
a-
okay.
Are you
It
sure?
doesn't violate sunshine laws.
Oh, well then what the heck? I will do that.
I mean, if you need to,
Megan.
you need to meet, you need to announce that you're going to have a meeting.
I thought we couldn't have. Oh, because we would have. I got you. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So Mary, Megan, the Megans. Sorry, it's easier for me to do that. Amy, Molly, Shay on new development. Neighborhood Revite will be Maria, Zach, Solveig, Polly, and Kimberly.
Yeah, the
And
chair
Megan.
can assign
took
people to
myself
a
off.
No,
committee,
you took
so
yourself off that. Okay.
since she's not here, you know how it is when you're not here, you get assigned.
And then
She did say she was interested.
Yes,
in
and
that.
she did say she was interested.
communication education is on an ad hoc basis. Okay, but Polly and Amy have also offered to serve on that when it comes up. I think I got everything.
Okay, so based on what you just heard, we had a motion to divide up like that and who the committees are and all that kind of stuff.
Who made the
Make a
motion?
Okay, thank you.
Maria.
And we need a second.
I'll second.
Thank you. The ayes? Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Any nays? Okay, good. I love when everybody's in agreement, although disagreement's good too. All right, so I think we've conquered that situation. Then the next thing we want to talk about is any city housing related updates or status of project. Oh, a technical thing before we do that. I should have brought this up at the beginning. We've had a big problem with our email, and I think that it's working now. Was it you that sent out an email to
My
everybody?
test email?
Your test email, yeah.
Did everyone receive? Well,
Yeah.
I sent, yeah, and I sent a
you
test.
sent one too, okay.
And it
as
worked?
well.
Whew, okay, we are finally communicating, so you can send, but remember, you have to be careful about what you send, that if you send it to everybody and it's about decisions that we need to make, that's violating sunshine laws. So you can send informational stuff strictly,
Okay.
and that's probably a little looser for us because we're advisory board, but still, we still need to respect the sunshine laws. If you have any questions, the law director is happy to give you some links and advice on that. So,
Would someone mind sending what Michelle Pappy sent out?
Yeah, I did not
You're not
receive it
getting it?
either.
I did not
I
either.
didn't get it either.
I can forward that when I get back to my office.
oh, that's great,
Thank
thank
you.
you. Yes, and as was mentioned before, it's actually helpful for us if we look at the plan for the city that Megan mentioned,
The comprehensive plan?
the comprehensive plan. I think it's a good idea to take a look at that. It gives you some perspective. So, and that's on the city's website, easy to find. That's a task for next time. Take a look at it, have some idea about housing according to our comprehensive plan. Okay.
And would that just be the housing section of the
Yeah,
plan?
I mean, you're welcome to look through all of it
Yeah,
as an
yeah.
informed citizen, but
Yeah.
it's
Okay.
fine if you just look
It's-
at the housing related
It's
stuff.
only it's a couple pages. I have it. I've
Oh, good.
already downloaded it.
And he's very prepared. Thank
Well,
you
I
very
just
much.
wanted to see what was going on, but
Yes.
yeah, it's only a couple pages, so yeah, I just wanted to
Not
mention
super
that.
long.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yeah,
I appreciate that.
yeah. It's,
Anything that jumps out at you based on our conversation, Amy?
I mean, it does talk about, changing some of the zoning that I thought was interesting in
Yes,
order
which
to expand housing options.
Our new planner is, and,
Yep.
and by the way, that's going through city council.
Yep.
It went through second
Yeah,
reading.
so,
and
there's
we're
actually a
slicing
lot
the
of
path.
recommendations about how to amend the zoning, so.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so Shay, I hope you've read that too.
Yeah.
And so where?
It's
so
a
where-
comp
The
plan.
comprehensive plan.
Comprehensive plan, right?
Yeah.
I'm
Wait,
going
and
to
where
send
do
it to
we-
everyone.
Okay, I was gonna say, I don't
Yeah.
know
Oh,
where to
thank
find
you.
it right now, so I haven't read it.
I
Now
can
that
send the link out when I
Well,
forward Michelle's.
she's doing it right now.
Oh, okay.
Actually,
Thank
so,
you.
Okay.
thank you so much.
I may have just searched.
You guys are great. Okay, so the next thing is any city housing related updates or status of projects. As I mentioned, the changes to zoning seem to be going through council beautifully, no problem. Another thing that's happening that we talked about in council yesterday was that off Columbus Road, we need a lift station, a new lift station, which would add the sewer situation, making it possible to add additional housing off of Columbus Road. There is some interest through various developers in that area because it is, and that's going to go through a CBDG grant with other monies. And like I said, that is bringing some interest because it is a low-income housing census tract. Yeah. And so I received a phone call from Spire that you recall that was interested in the off of Bradford Road. And they said that from my hearing the conversation, they were interested in shifting that possibly to Columbus Road.
Okay.
So, I don't know, we'll see, because of the census data information.
So they're interested in moving their development from
Possibly.
Bradford to, okay.
I think it was Blackburn, not
Blackburn,
Bradford.
yeah.
Black, yeah,
Yeah.
I'm getting my streets mixed up. Anyway, so I think that with the new hospital, that there's a great deal of interest, not only in housing, but also in employment. I think also this is a good time, Molly, for you to talk about the importance of housing needs and the recent articles about it.
Yeah, so the Athens County Economic Development Council just issued an op-ed both to the Messenger and the Athens Independent about how the lack of housing really hampers our ability to compete for not only business attraction, new companies coming to Athens, but to support our existing companies who are looking to expand and grow. So check that out. It talks a lot about, maybe it's not the role of the Economic Development Council to lead that effort, but that it's going to require partnerships across public and private sectors to address this, and we can't work in silos. And so I'm happy to send that out to the group too.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Because, right, the point that we're making is when you're spending 35% of your income on housing, that's not good for a local economy, right? Because we want to see folks spending elsewhere to
Right.
expand our tax base. So I will send that out to the Affordable Housing Commission members, and feel free to send that on to your own stakeholders.
Yeah, we can't attract new industry or new employers if they don't feel comfortable that they have people who will work there and buy their stuff. So that makes what we're trying to do really important, and what the planner is trying to do very important. So hence the lift station I just mentioned. But that can add to housing and other opportunities. Okay, anything else that either planner or anyone else knows about in terms of housing?
Well, I don't know about this, but I have a question. Is there any update on the Ridges project and going through the controlling board?
Okay, thank you for bringing that up. Yes, I communicated with Joe Recchi over the weekend, and he said that there isn't any news yet, but there aren't, it's kind of, at this point, no news is good news. So it's, bad things aren't happening at this point, but I think there's still a great deal of confidence that it will go through by the end of the year. So, is that what you,
I'm not involved in the
Okay.
conversation, but that's what I had heard last.
and remember, if that goes through, we could have like 700 housing units. Be huge. That would just be, I mean, not all right away, obviously, this would take over time, but, and everything from housing for low income, housing for seniors, there would be housing for workforce, and also for retirees who, or people who want to get luxury condos, perhaps, in one of the buildings, one of the outbuildings. So there's lots of opportunities there, and Joe Recchi is encouraging people to get in touch with him if they want to live there, and so that they can talk about what kinds of housing they want. And I'm going to be talking about that at the Villages on Thursday. So that's another thing. Any questions about that?
Is there any data on the housing deficit and, you know, like how many housing units might be needed both now and in the future? Any research into that?
Did you? Okay. I think if you reached out to the Voinovich School for that information, they could provide that.
Probably.
I have been in touch with Misty Crosby. She helped us with our op-ed piece, and she provided us with a lot of data. I can send you what she sent me. But if you would like additional information, I'm sure that's something that they could assist with.
Okay. Yeah,
What was your question, though? You said specifically you're looking for
Housing deficit.
housing deficit.
Yeah, housing deficit. How many units might be needed, but like whether it's right now or on an annual basis to meet the demand?
It's like for every, I just looked at this data and I can't remember it now. I just wrote about it. It's something crazy. Like for every 100 jobs you want to create in the community, that's not even taking into consideration the folks that are already here that need housing. You need like 90 new housing units or something like that. Don't hold me to that. I'll send you what I have. But the demand is high. And I was going to make another comment about this. I think, if I'm remembering correctly, one of the data points we included in this op-ed piece was that we are down 177 housing units from like 2017. So it's a problem.
Which is interesting because we do have all those new apartments off 682.
Yeah.
So, gives you an idea. In any case, let's see. I think that's it for that topic. So, unless somebody has anything else, and audience, please feel to, you know, it doesn't have to be as formal as the council meetings. So, you're welcome to jump up and make a comment. Thank you, Rob. I knew you'd have something to say.
One comment we were just talking about, I'm Rob Delich, I live on Morris Ave here in the city, is that the report that Michelle had tried to forward to you, has some, I think, numbers in it. It's been a while since I looked at it. I didn't look at it today, but you might take a look in that report and see if it has some numbers. They'd be for 2016, so a little old, but that might help you a little bit, Shay.
Thanks.
Thank you, Rob. You always have a lot of good information for us. Okay, and I talked with Glenn Crippen from HABCAP, and he's going to revise the trifolds. I don't know, I mentioned this to some of you, and that he brought last time. And he's going to provide a link on he's going to turn those into PDFs after he revises them, and so that he will have links to information about revitalizing neighborhoods, basically, and homes, and getting grants for people who need to have assistance to upgrade their homes and get repairs done. And so then I talked with Scott, our web guy. He's standing over there, and he said that it was fine if I put together a list of what we want to have as informational materials to HAPCAP or whatever in the various areas that we're working in, so that any citizen, any resident who wants information about housing can feel free to get that information. So we're going to try to be, and that's part of our communication and information as we move along. Okay, one other thing that I do need to mention is that the bylaws also say that, and I mentioned this last time, at the last meeting of the year in December, we are supposed to provide a report and make that available to City Council so that they know what we're doing. Now, we need to have people working on that, so be thinking about that. I mean, you know, we're still new and haven't accomplished that much. We're basically in the learning phase and getting our administration done and figuring out the committees and everything. So there's not a lot to do, but it is a requirement. So if you could think about, you know, some things you want to add to it or make sure that's on it, that would be helpful. And then in December, we can send them a little report and City Council report and make some comments. You know, again, we don't need a half hour to talk about what we've done. We can just say, we're getting started, we're getting stuff done. But it'll take a little time for us to really be in full force and making things happen. And that's all I have, unless anybody has any other. Okay, so everybody feeling okay about moving forward and getting some stuff done?
Yeah.
Okay, good. All right, that makes me very happy. Thank you so much.
Just one thing really quickly, I know I'm going backwards again, but
Good.
to confirm, good, let's go backwards. So between now and next meeting, I just want to reiterate one more time that we will need to have committee meetings. So I'm assuming Solveig and Megan are chairing those, you guys can coordinate those meetings?
Yes.
Okay.
And then also, we have a nominating.
We have a nominating committee
Let's not
as
forget
well.
Oh,
about
the
that.
nominating committee,
Yeah.
yes.
So those are the to-do things. It might be helpful, actually, with the minutes, if you don't mind. If there's some real to-do things, you can put them as to-do things. Is that okay?
Yes, I will,
And then if we can get those out within 2 weeks or so, so everybody goes, yeah, I have to do that.
yes, I will have yes, I will do that. But can you guys remind me who's on the nominating committee? I just want to make sure.
It's Mary Abel, Amy Lipka, and Megan.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure I have it somewhere, but I'm writing it down again, just in case.
And then what is the date of our next meeting, just for reference for all of our committee meetings?
Yes, that's a good idea to put that on here. So it's the 3rd.
October 15th.
That would be the 15th, yeah.
It's gonna be October.
So 15th at noon, right here, same place, same station.
Okay.
All right, that's it. We're ending early. One last chance to make a comment. I think we've got everything done. Thank you for some good concluding remarks. I really feel good about what everybody's doing and that we're moving forward and doing some cool stuff. So can we have a motion to adjourn?
I just remember one announcement.
Oh.
I apologize.
Okay.
Tomorrow at noon, we have the planning commission meeting. There's one agenda item where the county commissioners are presenting a project to the commission for review, not necessarily approval. They're going to be utilizing Conestoga huts to help
Yeah.
address some homelessness issues here in town. So if you're interested in that, either attend the meeting or watch the meeting later. But it should be
Yeah,
a
and
good
that brings
discussion.
up the issue that the county, the Athens County Foundation is really working hard on trying to do some emergency housing, and this is one of them. I'm on that committee, so I'm familiar. But yeah, I should have brought it up, I guess. Thank you for doing that. But yeah, we're trying to do stuff before it gets cold, and a variety of different strategies for helping people who are unhoused in our community, which unfortunately is a growing number, and we need to do something about it. So thank you very much for raising that. And now, motion to adjourn?
So move.
Second?
Okay, and the ayes will have it? Okay, there you go. I don't think we need to ask about the nays.